Where are you now? I know you're in LA, right?
No, I've always lived in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, I thought you moved here. I thought you moved out here.
Nope.
Why
Nope.
not?
I like the
Careful.
separation. I like the
Careful.
separation. I love being able to plug in and then unplug and kind of it's been challenging inside of quarantine, but before that, I loved my relationship with LA because I could book 14 nights straight, go out for 2 weeks, work like crazy, and then come home, decompress, listen to it in my own spot, like have some time with it and also have balance, be a husband, like do yard work and work around the house. And it wasn't like, it was nice to kind of pair both those worlds.
So you kind of jump in and then you get back to normalcy. Yeah, that is probably nice.
And nobody cancels on you when you're only there for 2 weeks.
Fair. That's fair. That's
you
cool,
know?
man. That's good. How often do you get to come here then? And actually, when you're here and you're not working, is there other things that you like to do? Is there places you like to visit, like eat and stuff like that? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's always, homie's always like, we'll pick this crazy spot to go. Last time I was out there, I was actually just out there January, like the first week of January. We did a
hmm,
little writing camp, and I got an Airbnb down in Redondo Beach.
great.
And it was incredible because it was like we were somewhere else. It
Yeah.
wasn't on stuck in a hotel on Sunset. We were in Redondo, right in that little town. Waking up, I would jump in the ocean, which was freezing and terrifying because the waves are enormous. And you know, we found there's like wetsuits we put on. There was bikes in the garage, and our rides wouldn't start till like 12. So we would just, and I'm on East Coast time, so I'm up at 5. Running around,
Hop,
freaking coffee
hop on the
spot.
bike and drive down the trail or ride
Hop
down
on
the.
the bike and think that I can make it a mile up this hill for the right, but it's just a beach cruiser.
Oh yeah, there's no gears, are there?
There's no gears, and I'm just like trying to grind it out up this hill.
Even
No.
if you had gears, yeah, you have to drop way down when you're pedaling like this and you're barely
Yeah.
moving. Oh
And
my
you're
god.
going like half a mile an hour.
Yeah, people are walking past you. Like, what are you doing,
Yeah.
dude?
Like, no,
Oh,
dude.
that's funny.
Um,
That's
but
funny.
no, I mean, I'm just a normal dude. Like, I like to hang out and play stupid video games, and like dive in, watch. Dude, you know what a great show is? Have you ever watched the Great British Baking Show? Let's just talk about it for a second.
Heard of it. Haven't watched it though.
It's phenomenal. The
Yeah.
stress, the normal people getting thrown in these high pressure situations, like you're gonna mess up this bake, and then it comes out great.
That's not the
I don't
Gordon
know.
Ramsay one, right? Where he's yelling at people.
No, no.
Okay.
It's
Because
in
I
the
like
it's
that
in
one.
the UK. Yeah. You like people just getting destroyed.
I love when he's screaming at people because he's got his vocabulary and the whole British slang, which is constantly
Just
changing.
breaks people down.
It's just so creative. He's like, "You donut," or "You plonk." I'm like, where are they getting these
I
words?
want to I want to use that. I want to use that.
Totally. What video games are you playing? What do you play?
I mean, usually it's just a little bit of Rocket League,
Huh?
or I think it's pretty much exclusively Rocket League.
Yeah.
Or I'm definitely down to jump into a good game of Mario Kart on the Switch. I've known to dabble. I'm
Old,
not terrible.
old school. No soccer,
Yeah.
no FIFA or any Madden, anything like that.
I don't have the time to get good enough to really be competitive. So every time I play, I'm like still kind of figuring out, oh, it's a new Madden this year. There's updated teams and play. Like I used to dive in heavy back in like, 13, 14, Madden 15.
Mm.
Like, yeah. But now it's just over my head, I think.
There's too much. There's too many things to remember. I like the old school, like Tech Mobile, when it was just A and
Dude,
B.
Tecmo Bowl or like
Blitz.
Blitz, dude, Blitz.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was two buttons. It was A and B. That's it. That's
And
all
you
you
could
needed.
just crush people over and over and over after the play's
After the
over.
whistle,
Yeah.
that was the
Just belly
best.
flopping on people.
Yes. It turns into like WWE afterwards. Let me get a couple
Such
of
a
quick
good
extra
game.
drops in.
Such a good game.
um, uh, hey, I saw you on Ryan Tedder's story the other day, didn't I? Did I see
Yeah, you
that?
sure did.
What was that about? That caught me off guard.
Yeah, so we did a writing camp in September. in Nashville, and it was sick. We were at this hotel, and underneath the hotel, it had 2 writing rooms, and we booked out the whole bottom. So basically, we would just go up to our rooms, go down in the morning, get some coffee, and go write. And it was the whole week. So I mixed it up. I was writing with different people each day, and one of the rooms was Ryan Tedder's room. He owned it, and he let us use it the whole week. So yeah, I was just kind of telling the story. Somebody had asked, when did you write a lot? And I just kind of wrote out. We wrote it in September in Nashville writing camp in the legendary Ryan Tedder's room with the great Steph Jones, who I wrote If We Never Met with, and she was a big part of the camp, helping me organize it, and she's an incredible writer. And yeah, he reposted it like immediately right after. And we were like, oh, all right, that's cool. Hey, Ryan, you want to work?
Wow.
You want the remix? Like, but it was cool to see how, he immediately was just like invested. I'm going to listen to that song. It was written in my space, hopefully a little bit of Ryan Tedder genius made it into the room and into the song. But yeah, it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, for somebody who's as busy as him to take that time to do that, that's got to feel good. That's got to feel nice. So this wasn't at his house, because I thought this was his house at the studio at his house.
No, I mean I guess he owns or was a part of the room in Nashville that
I was gonna ask what his house is like. That's got to be crazy, but
I'm sure his house is fire. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I've seen videos from it where he's just everybody's set up in their own thing, space, fun, toys, create.
Trip. That's cool, man. So this tour, I know you got a show coming up here in LA. It's in March at the House of Blues in Anaheim. How are you getting around on this tour? Is this a tour bus? Are you flying? Are you private jetting?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Marky Basie, like letting us come on this tour and inviting us to go. We're on 17 dates with him. So we are, they make Sprinter vans. They turn them into tour buses now.
No, I didn't.
It's awesome. They do it a lot in Nashville, but other cities have them too, where you can just basically rent this Sprinter that they gutted and they put 4 bunks in the back of the Sprinter. There's a big couch in it. I mean, it's a legitimate small tour bus because we don't need all that. My set's kind of broken down to me, guitars and drums. And so we want to try to make sure we're doing it the right way. Bringing some stuff with us. We start in Minneapolis, tour the entire East Coast, and then the last 3 shows are out west. So I'm undecided if we're gonna make that drive, because that would mean we'd have to come back after, or if I'm gonna wrap it up when we kind of hit Nashville and then just fly out for the last 3.
Yeah, otherwise you're calling the company saying, hey, come and get your truck. It's over here. It's in Anaheim.
I'm going to need somebody to drive it from Nashville to LA, and I will fly and meet you there, and it'll be great.
Do you get car sick at all? Are you packing Dramamine in there?
I love to drive.
Yeah.
I love to drive. My wife's family lives in Long Island, and I've made that drive straight through from Orlando to New York probably 6 times round trip.
Wow, that's a good 11, 12 hours maybe?
More like 18.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Ay. Straight through.
I there's something about driving for me that is very calming and centering. I'm very calm when I'm driving. So I'm not a tense driver that's taking energy out of me. I'm kind of, I can listen to some podcasts. I can deep dive into albums that I've wanted to listen to, or, just kind of go explore and listen to crazy playlists and explore and find and discover things that I like. And so the driving itself it occupies my mind enough to keep me, I guess, from fidgeting. And then I can just kind of relax into whatever it is I'm diving into and listening to. And it's very stimulating for me. I could go, when we first I just had a baby. So when we first had our little boy, he was 3 weeks old, and we were going to drive up to New York and not know. Yeah, I was just kind of like, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. Yeah. Let's figure it out. So,
and you get to enjoy the freedom of driving as well, I'm sure. So that'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
That is nice.
And I like to bring my dog, and I can bring all my equipment, and I can kind of fully pack the car. And we had to stop every 3 hours. It took us 24 hours to get from Orlando to New York. We left at 7 a.m. and pulled in at 6:30 the next morning.
Well, here's my concern for your tour. How
So
are you going to maintain the hair color, the cutting, all this stuff while you're on the road? These are the
it's
things we need to think about.
it's true. I haven't given it that much thought. I'm getting a little concerned. I
Yeah.
might have to, which I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
See, the music, whatever, fine, but we need to think about
Music, the
outfits.
driving, the logistics,
No.
hair color.
Hair
What do we?
color, outfits on the stage. Do you take clothes? Do you buy them on the road? How are you washing them? How do you do the laundry and all that stuff? How
You're
are you?
making me nervous, man. I
Yeah.
haven't. There's so much more I have to think about, huh?
How many pair of underwear do you pack for this trip?
At least two. At least two.
That's good. I guess you could stop off in the mall and grab some supplies on the way. That's good. That's one thing.
We'll figure it out.
These are all important. So, who do you think while you hit the road, who's going to miss you more? Lenee's the
It's
lady
my
you
wife.
love, right? Is it Lenee, Breeze, or Lily? Which one of those three will miss you more? And of course, Breeze is your new baby. It's like what, 3 months now, something like that.
He's 6 months old now.
6 months. Okay, I thought it was
Yeah.
in October that you had. I think that's when you
Yeah.
introduced us to
It
him.
was. We
Yeah.
had him in July. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
Lily, the dog, and this is what I picture. This exact picture that you posted is the
Lily's.
kind of attitude that I imagine your dog
Yeah.
when you say I'm leaving for a couple of months.
Yep. Don't look at me. Don't touch me. I don't want anything. Get away from me. Just go. Just go. She's like a human. She's our firstborn. Obviously, she's our
Yeah.
firstborn. Um, I think I'd like to think my 6-month-old son will miss me the most, or my dog will miss me the most. But I know it's going to be my wife. I know she loves. We've really worked really hard to just create this incredible family unit, and we're happiest when we're all together. And she's the most supportive wife ever. But if she had her choice, would she prefer me be there? Absolutely.
Of
So
course.
we kind of go back to long distance, which was our foundation. When we first met, I was living in Nashville and she was in Orlando. And so, we made some ground rules, and I think it was really helpful now looking back in situations like these where we have to be apart for longer periods of time. We know how to operate in that. And it's not, it's not painful. It's not, it's like, oh, we already did this. We got this.
Familiar ground. Wait, how did you guys even meet then? If that's not
Oh
too
man.
invasive, I mean, this isn't
No,
like
not at all.
you didn't meet on MySpace back in the day or something like that, did you?
No. So I was living in Nashville, just kind of starting to put the pieces together, deciding if I wanted to do this, more like singing than really knowing what it meant to be an artist. And I got hired to go sing at this wedding in Tampa. And I was the surprise for the wife. And I was like, that sounds like a good time. I'll go to Tampa. Let's do it. And I was like hiding in the ballroom. I had the piano set up, and then they walked in for the first dance, and I played their dance song. The wife cried. It was an amazing moment, amazing people. And I always stayed in touch with the groom, and he would always check in. Hey, how you doing? What are you working on? What's going on? And I briefly met the bride's best friend. Caught my eye a little bit, but she was with somebody else. So, I was respectful. I didn't. And fast forward now, that guy who I sang at his wedding, he's my manager. We started this project together. I married somebody from that wedding. That was her best friend. Basically, a couple months later, the bride of that wedding, Shay, texted me, "Hey, are you like, weird question, you seeing anybody right now?" And I was like, is Lenee asking? Because if so, like, I will be there tomorrow. I'll be there.
You were that taken, huh?
I don't, it was a timing thing. And I had kind of seen some of her stuff, in those months, and she'd seen, we had platonic reasons to stay in touch. She had broken up with her boyfriend, which I did not know. Was very excited to find out. And yeah, I went there the next day, and we went out to dinner, and Shay also came. So it was like the three of us, good friend, making sure, like, if he's weird, then we'll just, and, like 45 minutes into the first dinner, Shay was like, "You guys seem like you're going to be okay. I'm going to go." and it was great. It was one of those dates you'll never forget. Like we walked around and we just talked for like 4 hours. We went to City Walk, and then left, and I had to leave to Nashville the next day, and we just started texting and never stopped. And I eventually moved back down here, and Rob and I started the project, and we really started hyper focusing on what John Kay is as a project, and started the momentum started from there.
What a story, dude! That's a Matthew McConaughey movie. That's what that is.
Yeah, he could play. I mean,
That
find somebody a little
whole
younger.
thing, man. It all comes down to you. If you didn't say
And
yes to
the
go to that.
cherry on top is I wrote If We Never Met about that. And it
Oh,
was about, If We Never Met was, if I never went to that wedding and never met you, I would never have met what turned into my whole family, Rob and Shay are family. And,
damn.
you know, Lenee's first cousin is this incredible musician named Dante, who ended up moving in with us, and he's the musician part of it. And we all just attacked this whole thing together. And this project really is so much more than me. And it makes it so much better to kind of celebrate the highs with the same people you started it with.
Yeah. Wow. Holy hell, man. That's a story. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
And not a lot of people know that story, and not for any reason other than, you know, I guess it's cool now that we can wait, and one day we'll make this like insane Netflix documentary about
Yeah.
it or
Is this
something.
something I should take out? Is this something I should not include? But
No, I mean I'm open about it, but
yeah,
we can.
I'm happy to delete it if you like. But it's an incredible
No,
story. You need to sell the rights to somebody. Hugh Grant, Matthew McConaughey. That's a movie. That's really cool, man. And the way you tell it too, you tell it. You can see it. So that's cool.
thanks,
And now
man.
you got to
I
leave
appreciate
town
it.
for a couple of months. Oh man.
It's real. Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's
then when you
real.
get back, and you got to reintroduce yourself to the baby. I'm guessing that's got to be interesting
Yeah,
on the road.
he's gonna be
FaceTime.
like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
What? No, we FaceTime every night. Where whatever time zone I'm in. Like when I was in Redondo Beach, I had a 4:30 p.m. alarm because he goes to bed at 7:30 to
Mm.
FaceTime in, and we'd say his prayers while he's drinking his bottle. I have to, and that's probably more for me than even for him. And, for me and my wife to make sure that we're checking a box and staying very connected and not letting that line slide, because I can be very out of sight, out of mind, and very hyper focused on, the music. And, she's really good at just saying, I've learned to just create that boundary for myself to stay, keep that's number one.
Yeah.
It's,
Sure.
and even though most songs I write when I'm in LA are about them,
Hmm.
it still is very important for me to make sure that I'm actively there and checking in and keeping that really, really strong, firm foundation, because I know how crazy life can be. I know how crazy the industry can be, and I know how easily you can kind of lose your center. And I'm not willing to compromise in that area.
Yeah. Wow. And then when you get home after this tour, you're back to it. Like you said, yard work and stuff. What are all your jobs at home? What do you have to do? What are you responsible for?
Okay, so I don't have to wash the clothes, but I have to put them away.
That's a good part. That's a fun part.
I take that on,
Yeah.
happily. I know where the things go. Um, I really like to cook, but I'm more of like, I handle the outside, like the grilling aspect of it.
Yeah.
So like the fun part, get into my meats, marinade, really, and then I'll cook. They'll handle the inside stuff. Um, I mean, she pretty much does it all. Anything I'm kind of stretching,
Yeah.
but like this. So what we're in now, this used to be a part of my garage, but when we got pregnant, my studio was in the house, and I wanted to make that room a playroom. So we I didn't do it all myself. I had help, but hung insulation, drywall, took the back corner of the garage, put an AC unit in it, made a little studio. The hardest part, which I didn't realize, is I had put all of this soundproofing, and I was so lazy when we first did it in the other room that I put spray adhesive on each piece and
Oh
just
boy.
stuck it on hundreds of pieces.
And
Hundreds.
that's, you got to be mathematical when you put that stuff in, and it has to be able to be moved, right?
I couldn't get it off. I couldn't get it off. And I finally ripped all the pieces off, and there was just like
Yeah.
glue and part of this like foam sound. It was a mess.
Ay,
It was
ay,
a
ay.
mess.
That's when you
What are
call
you
the
gonna do?
property brothers and you call and you say, dude, come fix me.
I messed up. I did. I called one of my best friends who's a painter, and he came over. He was like, "What did you do in here?" I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. Can you help me?" He's like, "No, I'm about to walk out. That's
Oh
it."
man, that's
But
crazy.
no, we keep it simple. This year has been, I think, for me, the most rewarding and the most difficult year of my life,
Sure.
in the sense that obviously I had Breeze, but with that came what I didn't expect was this like deep. I'm realizing more and more as I get further into music and as I, you know, commit to this more every single day, that I am really deep and really emotional.
Mm.
And I never really realized that, because I think music was kind of my avenue to be able to express that without feeling it necessarily.
Mm.
Uh, but having Breeze, for me at least, made me ask those questions like, all right, playtime is over. What are the things about yourself that don't serve you? What are the things about yourself that you wish weren't there? What are the things you want to be better? And what can you do about it? And I hadn't really gone down that road, but once I started going down that road, I was like, damn, there's a lot of things that I need to work on,
That can get real dark real quick.
So it did, and I had to face a lot of these things, and it brought me back to all these like memories of being young and younger, and maybe things that I was exposed to or things that I was like, had to go through, and it was a lot to just face. And it did get kind of dark and heavy for a while, but I feel like I was able to break through that and kind of find my smile again, and kind of find that like that thing that just makes it a little bit lighter. And I know it's leading to incredible music where I'm now recognizing how much depth and emotion is in me, and able to, and kind of crave to tap into it more musically as well.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, specifically about this song as well, a lot when you're talking about the feeling and the music and it's interesting because this song is about, it's kind of it's not sad. Like the content of it is sad, but the melodies and stuff aren't
Mm-hmm.
sad. So it's kind of an interesting, tricky little thing you've done there
Yeah,
with the
it's kind of
emotions.
the
It's you've
that
confused the
that song.
emotions.
Yeah, that one confused me for a little while, if I'm being honest,
Yeah,
because it does have like this. At first listen, you're like, that is a clean pop song,
yeah.
simple, you know. Uh, but the more that I listened through to that song throughout the process, the more depth I found in it. The more I found, like, even the way the guitar, there's two guitars that are working together the whole time, and it feels very simple, but it's actually very intricate in its simplicity. And that is that whole song. There's depth in the story. There's kind of a little bit of pain in there, and the juxtaposition of obviously like the brighter melody line and everything, the way that we all kind of put it together, became more and more beautiful to me throughout the process. And it's a song that to this day, and the real test was when we did the music video and I had to listen to it 500 times throughout the day. Normally with songs, like I'm really sick of them at the end of the day, but for
Mm.
whatever reason, this song, and the only other song that has done that for me is If We Never Met. But at the end of the day, I wasn't sick of it. I was actually liking it more.
Hmm.
And so there is this kind of energy in it. And some songs just have this thing where we call it like, it doesn't have a burn, and it doesn't, you can't listen to, like, at least for me,
Sure.
if I listen to it 5 times, I'm not sick of it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I can see. I guess when you think about the two sides of it, the message and the music, I can see that maybe this time you're listening to it with that way, and that so maybe that's why.
Mm.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah, I
interesting
think
chord.
it's just also just a kind of a passive it's not trying to really do anything too aggressive in your face. It's like, oh, that song's on. All right, I could leave it on for another minute. It's like it's not a big deal. It's like you can have it in the background. If it comes on, you're not going to be like, oh, change that. At least I hope not.
Yeah. Well, as we blast it on Myfm after we go from this into the song, is there anything about the song that you want people to really pay attention to? You want everybody in the car, be quiet, listen to this chord progression or this fill or this lyric specifically?
Mm, mm,
Anything that you worked really hard on?
Um, Let me think. Hold on, I got it.
Yeah.
I would say the growth throughout the record. Listen to the last. So after we drop everything out completely and it gets the most intimate into the last, I think about you a lot, when we come back into it, and it's kind of subtle, but we added some ooh pads, and we wanted to just kind of wrap up the listener a little bit more in the last post, in the very end of the song. So yeah, just enjoy the record, try to lose yourself in it, and I think it's a simple song, and that you're supposed to just try to enjoy it as much as you can.